Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we get started, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, as always. Councilman Lombardi, would you lead us tonight?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just ask that we remain standing for a moment of silence to remember those men and women who are serving our country and providing us with the blanket of freedom that we live under each and every night. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Frank. Okay, welcome everyone, and welcome all at home for watching this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel for this evening. Tonight's meeting is a two-part meeting. It's a voting meeting for the first part, and the second part of the meeting will be a work session. So, for the record, all Town Board members are present with us tonight, as is our Town Clerk, Ann Spofford. Ann, thanks for being here. Greg Fulchetti is all the way down to my left. He's our Carmel Town Council. And Rich Franzetti, the Town Engineer, has a couple of items on the work session agenda, and he'll be here for that. And Mary Ann Maxwell, the Town Comptroller, is with us tonight as well. So, once again, the first part of the meeting is a Town Board voting meeting. There's 15 items that we're going to be voting on this evening, and then there's 3 work session agenda items after the voting meeting. So the first item on the agenda is to accept the Town Board minutes of September 16th, 2021. I need a motion to accept those.
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Lombardi.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Shannell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, first resolution this evening is a resolution declaring certain equipment obsolete and authorizing disposal of same. Bob, you don't have to read all the VINs.
Okay.
So you don't just say as pre-filed with the town clerk, okay? So read the top portion of the resolution, and then you can read the year and make of the vehicle, but you don't have to read the VIN.
Okay.
Okay. Councilman Shannell.
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby declares the following vehicles and/or equipment to be obsolete and authorizes their disposal in accordance with town law, including but not limited to the town law, section 64-2-A. 1 2008 Ford Expedition, 1 2007 Chevrolet Tahoe, 1 2013 Chevy Caprice, 1 2013 Chevy Caprice, 1 2000 Chevy Caprice. VINs are on file as with the town boards, with the town clerk's office, as on file with the town clerk's office. I offer this resolution as read.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Second.
You're welcome.
Seconded by
Me.
Susie. Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution number 2 is an amended resolution authorizing award of a contract for the purchase of bulk diesel fuel for the Town of Carmel Highway Department. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read 2?
Yes, resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of the Town of Carmel Highway Superintendent Michael Simone, hereby authorizes the award of bid contract for purchase of bulk diesel fuel for the Town of Carmel Highway Department for the period commencing retroactive to August 27th, 2021 through August 24th, 2023 to Global Montello Group Corp. Under New York State Office of General Services, Group Number 5602, Award Number 23236, and Contract Number PC 69480 at the prices set forth herein. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution number 3 is a resolution adopting the amended tentative budget as the preliminary budget. Councilman Lombardi, would you read 3?
Resolved that the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby adopts the town supervisor's tentative budget as a preliminary budget for fiscal year 2022. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, offered by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilman Shannell. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannell.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
No.
And Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes. So it carries 4 yes and 1 no. Okay, next resolution number 4 is a resolution authorizing the scheduling of a public hearing in connection with the preliminary budget for November 3rd, 2021. Councilman Borelli, would you read for?
Just knew something was wrong. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the scheduling of a public hearing in regard to the preliminary budget fiscal year 2022, including the general town fund, highway funds, as well as all water districts, sewer districts, park districts, fire protection districts, garbage district, and lighting districts. And be it further resolved that said public hearing shall be held on the third day of November 2021 at Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, at 7 p.m. or as soon as thereafter that evening as possible, in which all interested parties shall be heard. Be it further resolved that the proposed salaries of the following officials for fiscal year 2022 shall be advertised as required by Section 108 of the Town Law of the State of New York, as followed in said notice. Town Supervisor, $132,388. Town Clerk, $107,064. Town Highway Superintendent, $138,116. Town Council members, $22,277. Be it further resolved that Town Clerk Ann Spofford is hereby authorized and directed to publish the notice of said public hearing in the official newspapers of the town a minimum of 5 days prior to November 3rd, 2021. And be it further resolved that the Town Clerk of the Town of Carmel is hereby authorized and directed to post the notice of said public hearing on the Town Bulletin Board a minimum of 5 days prior to November 3rd, 2021. And be it further resolved that a copy of the preliminary budget be available at the office of the Town Clerk, where it may be inspected by any interested person during office hours. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannon.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 5, is a resolution authorizing scheduling a public hearing on a proposed local law to override the limit on the amount of real property taxes that may be levied pursuant to New York General Municipal Law 3-C, and the date is 11/3/2021, and that's the date of the public hearing on the budget. Councilman Shannon, would you read 5, please?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the scheduling of a public hearing at Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, 10541, on Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021, at 7 o'clock p.m., or as soon thereafter that evening as possible, on proposed local law to override the limit on the amount of real property taxes that may be levied pursuant to the New York General Municipal Law, Section 3-C, and be it further resolved that the Town Clerk Ann Spofford is hereby authorized and instructed to publish and post the necessary notices in the official newspapers of the town and on the Town Bulletin Board regarding this public hearing. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Borelli. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannon.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes, Greg, I just want to, this is just saying that we're having a public hearing, not that we're necessarily overriding it, correct?
That's correct. You have to
Perfect.
set the public
Yep.
hearing if
Then
you're
you-
going to even consider overriding, consider law.
Okay, yes.
And Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. And remember, you heard me a few weeks ago when I presented my tentative budget that the garbage districts went out to bid. So we're waiting for the bids to come back on that, and we'll know at some point after November, on November 4th, we'll know what those bids are. And if we find it necessary or there's no way around this, if the garbage bids come in extremely high and they come in at a point where we're not going to have a choice but to override the 2% tax cap. We prefer not to do that. That's something that this board would rather not do, but the garbage bids will tell. They'll be the telling story whether or not we're going to have to override the cap or not. We prefer not to, but we'll know after November 4th. Anybody else want to say anything about that?
That's it.
That's pretty much what it is.
The mercy of the garbage company.
Companies, right. Okay. All right, next resolution, number 6, is a resolution authorizing budget modifications 2021/04. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read 6?
Yes. whereas the town comptroller has reviewed the proposed final budget modifications for the period ending September 30th, 2021 with the town board, which are detailed and explained on the attached budget revision section schedule 2021/04. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby authorizes and ratifies the final budget modifications revisions for the period ending September 30th, 2021, as shown itemized on Schedule 2021/04, which is attached here to, incorporated herein, and made a part hereof. I offer this resolution as read.
A second.
Seconded by Councilman Channel. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannon.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 7, is a resolution acknowledging performance of emergency repairs services for Carmel Water and Sewer Districts. Councilman Lombardi, would you read 7?
Excuse me. Resolve the town board of town of Carmel act as commissioners of the various water and sewer districts of the excuse me. Of the sewer districts of the town of Carmel hereby acknowledges the emergency performance of water and sewer district collection system, distribution system, and treatment facilities repairs, specifically those performed in Carmel Water District Number 2 and Carmel Water District Number 9, as fully detailed in the memorandum of Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti to the Town Board dated October 7, 2021, which is attached here to and made part hereof. I offer the resolution as read.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Channel. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannon.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next resolution, number 8, is a resolution authorizing award of bid, Carmel Sewer District Number 2 wastewater treatment plant for contract C275. Councilman Borelli, would you read 8?
Whereas the town board of the town of Carmel has previously authorized advertisement for various improvements to be performed at the Carmel Sewer District Number 2 wastewater treatment plant facility, specifically for the supply and installation of the dual drive, clarifier drive, grit cyclone, and shaftless screw grit classifier for the washing, conveyance, and dewatering of wastewater separated grit from mechanical grit chamber in a double helix dual August system. And whereas such bids were received and opened on September 9, 2021, and a bid opening memo is on file with the town clerk and Spofford, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board of Carmel, acting as commissioners of Carmel Sewer District Number 2, and upon the recommendation of Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., town engineer, the town board hereby awards the aforesaid bid for supply and installation of the dual clarifier drive unit to TAM Enterprises of Goshen, New York, the low responsible bidder meeting specifications at a contract cost of $98,000. Be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of Carmel Sewer District Number 2, and upon the recommendation of Richard Franzetti, P.E., town engineer, the town board hereby awards the aforesaid bid for supply and installation of the grit cyclone, shaftless screw, grit classifier, and double helix dual August system to Whitcon Enterprises, Inc., Thompson Ridge, New York, at an aggregate contract cost of $340,000. And be it further resolved that upon review of insurance certificates and bonds in form acceptable to Town Council Kenneth Schmidt, Town Supervisor is hereby authorized to execute any and further documentation necessary to accept such bid and contract for said services. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote.
Councilman Shannon.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 9, is a resolution authorizing improvements at Sycamore Park. Councilman Shannon, would you read 9?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, in connection with the proposed project of Joseph Bacheletta, Boy Scouts of America, Troop Number 1, hereby authorizes the performance of improvements at Sycamore Park in accordance with the memorandum and plans provided by Director of Recreation and Parks James R. Gilchrist, as detailed in his memorandum to the town board dated October 8, 2021. And be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates for all vendors and contractors proposed to perform improvements in connection with this authorization in form acceptable to town council, therefore said work may be commenced. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote.
Councilman Channel.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 10, is a resolution authorizing entry into an agreement with the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department for the senior drop-in program. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read 10?
Yes, resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes entry into agreement with Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department for the Town of Carmel Senior Program. Said contract to be in form is attached hereto and made a part hereof. Be further resolved that Town Supervisor Kenneth Schmidt is hereby authorized to execute the aforesaid contract and any and all documentation reasonably related thereto. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Channel. Greg, did you look this over? This is the most recent one, right?
First one that came, we gave you the minor modification that we had off the Parkland, so that's what's in your packet right now.
Rich Franzetti?
Well, Jimmy Goker's here,
Oh, okay.
which was conveying it to me.
Jimmy gave it to me when I was walking out the office today.
That's the newest.
Okay, all right, because I haven't read this yet. That's why I'm asking you, Greg. You looked it over, and so it's acceptable to you? And the rest of the board had an opportunity to read this over? This is an amended agreement, and it's 200. Renter shall pay the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department a sum of $200 per the discounted rate per or in accordance with the long-term fee schedule listed below.
It's just through, it's beginning November 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2023.
It's a 2-year.
So it's 2 years, $200 rental.
At 200.
Yep.
So they dropped the fee, but they also dropped the amount of the
years.
years.
Correct.
So we're going to have to renegotiate with them in
Yes.
2 years.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, is this, okay. All right. Okay, roll call vote?
Councilman Channel.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi. Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried.
And I just want to thank the Mahopac Fire Department for, you know, I know it was only like a few dollars, but every little cent helps. Thank you.
Okay. All right, next resolution, number 11, is authorizing attendance at a seminar. Councilman Lombardi, would you read 11?
Sure. Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby authorizes Town of Carmel Director of Code Enforcement Michael Carnazza and Town of Carmel Fire Inspector Joe Wilichowski to attend the 2021 NYSBOC in-service training certification being held in Albany, New York, on October 18th through the 20th, and be it further resolved, the Town Board of Town of Carmel authorizes payment of reasonable and necessary expenses incurred in connection thereto upon audit. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Borelli and Channel. Roll call vote?
Councilman Channel.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yeah, virtual, yeah. Yes, yes, motion carried, thanks. Okay, number 12 is a resolution authorizing reimbursement for attendance at a seminar. Councilman Borelli, would you read 12?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes payment of reasonable and necessary expenses incurred by Town of Carmel Assessor Glenn Drosy for attendance at the New York State Assessors Association Annual Conference, October 4th through October 6th, 2021. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote?
Councilman Channel.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Sorry.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, next resolution, number 13, is a resolution authorizing encumbrance and expenditure of funds from Parkland Trust Fund for the Town of Carmel Airport Park improvements. Councilman Shannon, would you read 13?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the expenditure of up to $35,000 from the Parkland Trust Fund to the improvements at the Town of Carmel Airport Park, and be it further resolved that the Town Controller, Mary Ann Maxwell, is hereby authorized to make any and all budget transfers or modifications necessary in connection with this authorization. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote?
Councilman Channel.
Yes.
Councilman Borelli.
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi.
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough.
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt.
Yes, motion carried on that one. Okay, Next, resolution number 14 is a resolution authorizing signing of intermunicipal agreement between the Mahopac Central School District and the Town of Carmel for use of athletic fields, school facilities, and town facilities. So this is a one-year extension of this agreement. So it runs from June 30th, 2021 to June 30th of 2022. And then at that point, when this is ready to expire or prior to expiring, the town board, recreation, and school district are going to be discussing the terms of a new agreement going forward. So this is just a one-year agreement, and it's being rolled over for the same amount. It's $90,000 is what we budgeted for the use of the school district fields and facilities during the course of the year. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read 14, please?
Sure. Whereas James R. Gilchrist, Director of the Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks, has requested that the town board authorize the signing of an intermunicipal agreement between the Mahopac Central School District and the Town of Carmel, providing for the use by the Town of Carmel of certain athletic fields and facilities belonging to the Mahopac Central School District, as well as for the use of certain Town of Carmel parks by the Mahopac Central School District for a period of 1 year commencing immediately through June 30th, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby authorizes the town supervisor to sign on the behalf of the Town of Carmel the intermunicipal agreement between the Mahopac Central School District and the Town of Carmel in regard to the foregoing in the form as attached hereto and made a part hereof. And be it further resolved that a copy of said intermunicipal agreement be filed with the town clerk after signature by the town supervisor. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote.
Councilman Channel?
Yes.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, the 15th and final resolution is a resolution making reappointment to the Town of Carmel Board of Assessment Review. Councilman Lombardi, would you read that, please?
Resolve the Town Board of Town of Carmel hereby reappoints Kevin Morris to the Town of Carmel Board of Assessment Review for a term commencing October 1, 2021 and expiring September 30th, 2026. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Borelli and Channel. Roll call vote.
Councilman Channel?
Yes.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried. Okay, so that completes the agenda items for this evening's Town Board voting meeting. Before we move on to the work session, is there anyone here that would like to come up and comment on any of the agenda items that we just covered this evening, 1 through 15? Come on up at this time and state your name and the agenda item that you wish to discuss. Okay, is there anybody?
Hi, my name's Steve Lacadera. Just wanted, did you guys go over the budget yet? On your amended budget?
We didn't finalize it yet,
You
Steve.
didn't finalize it?
No.
Okay. Was there any information given to the board members as far as the agenda and the salaries and the increases of everybody that's going to be getting them across the board?
Every department put in requests.
Whoever put the requests in, it was accompanied by backup. In other words, if they submitted something with backup on it, then the board would have gotten it, right, Mary Ann?
So,
And it
in other
would be
words,
in
the
here,
board
right?
knows that-
It would be in
It
here.
would be,
Yeah.
it would be in here.
So I guess the board knows about the supervisor getting a 3% raise. The new guy that's coming in, getting a 3% raise, but also an extra $5,000 on top of that when he starts. That's the first one,
That's correct.
and that's a 3%.
It's 3%. The five, it's actually 6,000, Steve, and that's for he gets a stipend for being the chief fiscal officer.
So it goes from your salary.
Which I get.
$1,000 more without even doing a thing.
No, well, so you see, his salary was 132 and change was his proposed salary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you add 6,000 to that, that's the stipend for being the chief fiscal officer. Total amount is roughly 138 and
Okay.
change.
Now that 138 is. The
Steve.
138 is from the 127.
Oh, Steve, you want you to speak into the mic.
Oh,
Steve, what we did tonight, we set up a public hearing for the salary increases of those individuals for November 3rd.
yes, I know.
Okay.
I was wanting to know if the board, all you guys, all the members got all this information on the salaries that are in the surrounding areas, what the population is, how much their budget is, and what the percentages are across the board. Basically, the town of Carmel is the highest paid in Westchester and Putnam County. You guys on the board are the highest paid across the salary on all of
I don't
it.
take
You
any-
got Cortland, Yorktown, Mamaroneck, Somers, Bedford, Southeast, Putnam Valley, Kent, Patterson, 33,000 in population, 32.8 million. That's the highest out of all of those counties. And the supervisor, the town clerk, the town assessor, the town budget assessor, everybody makes over 100,000 to 127,000. You know, that's like right there, you know. You know, and then you have the court clerks. They sit in the back. They have, out of their workload, they have 52 items that they were doing, and since COVID and the bail reform and all that, they've added 22 more items to their workload. 22 more. I'm going to say it's a little more than half of what they were doing that was bringing in the town money. And what they can't even get is a raise to get them up to, let's say, Kent, you know, 52,000. They can't even get up, some of them can't even get up there. They can't even get their 3% or 2% like everybody else is getting. You know, this is,
Is that true? That's not correct.
They got they're part of those individuals are part of the union. They're part of CSEA
okay,
union.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
Here we
and-
go.
and they're-
Tier 2,
Well,
tier
let me
3.
just finish up, and then I'll let you speak.
Right.
So, under the CSEA contract, those individuals fall under the CSEA contract, and they got a raise.
You have individuals that are, and you have individuals that aren't, that work for this town inside these doors.
No, but if they're a member of the union, they
Okay.
got a raise pursuant to the contract that we agreed to with the
So the
union.
lady next to me or the man next to me is in the union and I'm not, but I do the same job, I shouldn't get what he's getting? I think so,
Well,
right?
I don't know who you're making reference to, but
Okay. You got class 2, you got class 3, and then you got class 10, right? You have people here that've been here 6 years, and they're bumped up to 10 already. And that lady, they're looking for a $20,000 budget raise this year, and you got them down there for a $20,000 budget. But they've been only 6 years. The women in the back been here 18 years, and they're still at 3 and 4 tier. I don't get it. You have most of your, let's see, highway, tier 10, 91,000. You have controller, tier 10, 91,000. Engineer, tier 10, 91,000. Would they pass the same paper around all the time to each guy? 91,000? I don't get it. They all make the same because of what? Tier 10? Okay, good.
Those
So-
aren't the salaries of those people.
No.
Those aren't even.
Public information is right here, all of it. Every town, every
Something's
county.
wrong, Steve. Something's wrong. I don't know what you're looking
No,
at.
is it
I'm
the-
looking at
Steve,
what tiers make
hang
what
on,
and
Steve.
why. If you're here 6 years, you go to tier 10? Oh, because they took a test? What happened to the 18 years experience? Doesn't that bring it up to them?
Oh, you're talking
I
about something.
know, Mike, it's hard for me to
You're talking about
understand.
something that has drove me crazy for 4 years of sitting here, okay, being in the private world.
Right.
The steps and the tiers in government is total bull, okay? It's take the test, get the raise, take the
Right.
test, move up to a different department. I agree with you totally with what you're saying in terms of somebody that spent 10 years, 12 years, 15 years with experience. But I learned that I'm locked in. If somebody takes the test and passes it and fits into that position, that's what they get,
That happened in several cases.
whether I like it or not.
That happened in several cases. You had
And-
one
and
lady
I
that was
hate
here.
it. That's one
She's here
part of this
18
job.
years and she's still in tier 2. She went from one department and now is in the other, and she is still in tier 2. I don't get it. She only makes 43,000 a year. I don't get it. 18 years, you know?
No, I think, Steve, is the principal account clerks, is that what you're referring to? The 3 principal account clerks?
Yeah,
with the-
you really shouldn't be talking,
Yeah, well, I think that's what he referenced, but
you know.
he's just
It's not
referencing,
fair to the person we're talking about that maybe doesn't want to know that.
Oh, I'm not mentioning anybody. I'm mentioning across the board, everybody.
he mentioned the tiers and then salaries and highway, he mentioned.
Just mention the tiers and the salaries, don't mention the positions.
Okay, I did. I didn't mention any names. Okay, you're
Just,
right.
I don't want to embarrass anybody.
No, I don't, I'm not here to do that. I'm here to correct that the people that have been here, and whether they take a test or they're doing that job, they should be getting their raises.
I agree with you.
You know, there are people that's in here right now that have the same thing.
I agree with you 150%.
So, I think that you guys got to sit back and look at it and say, are we playing fair across the board? Or are we favoring? That's what we have to look
I,
at.
for one personally, didn't favor anybody on that schedule.
Michael, you are fair guys. Day I met you.
We
I
tried
know
to
that
keep
about
it-
you.
We tried to keep it between 3 and 4% for everybody except for a handful of people. And going to the unions on the highway department, which got a good contract, to the police department, which got a good contract, to the CSEA, which got a good contract. We carried that over to the people in the building. We all kept it between 3 and 4%,
Yep.
other than a handful of people.
When you got
It had to
people
be
that
fixed.
been here for 18 years, and from 13 to 22, they have an increase of 41,000 in just those years. 41,000 from
There has to be
13 to
reasons,
22.
Steve.
9 years. 9 years at 3%, 3 times 9, 27, 43,000? I don't get it. You know, there's a lot of information here, but you need to look at it and find out where and how and why. You know, and then when you take the workload and you double it because of COVID and because of certain guidelines and bail reform and landlords you can't evict, you got a lot more load on the women in the back that bring a lot of money into this court. You know, they pay their own way, but they're not getting paid their way. Not their way, what they owe. So I want you to take a look at that, you know. I have the information. I will give it to you on the side if you want it. I'll tell you where I got it, when I got it, and who I got it from. A lot of information out there. All right? That's all I want to say. I need you to take a look at it. And the reason why the judges weren't invited to talk about the court clerks, I could say that. Why weren't they in the discussion of the budget? That's all I got to say.
They were put on an executive session, and they were always able to come in.
No, they weren't.
We've never denied anybody the right to
I
come
didn't
into
say
executive
that.
session.
They
I
weren't
know that
invited
for
to
me.
the discussion.
No one's ever been denied the right to come
Well,
into.
then why weren't they there?
Show us, copy us that.
Can you leave copies of that, Steve?
I have copies.
Can you give us copies? Okay.
I'm going to give it to one person, and if they choose to give it out to you guys, then you can have them.
You want to give it to Ann?
I'm going to give it to Susie.
Susie? Okay.
All right? This is 4 copies. In here, because I knew that no one had this information.
4 copies of the same thing.
That's the same copies I got.
Did anybody get that information?
Not unless you did the research like I did.
Okay.
It's all public records right there.
There's no tiers in
It's-
exempt
it's-
employees.
No,
But he mentioned tier.
yeah,
I'm sorry, Steve. You mentioned tier 10 controller. Controllers are exempt employees. They're not part of, their civil service, they're appointed positions, which makes them exempt from,
Maybe they referenced their tier 10 money to that person.
because they're not in tiers. That's why I got a little confused when you said that. Yeah, the exempt employees are not in tiers or groups. That's for the collective bargaining agreements and also for the civil service titles.
steps and groups.
Okay, maybe I worded it wrong.
No,
Written on there as
no, I got confused when you said that. I didn't get, I lost
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
If you need anything else from me, I'm available 24/7.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, is there anyone else here for the resolutions that we covered this evening? Come on up at this time, if there is. Okay. All right, so I need a motion to close the,
So moved.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, need a motion to open the work session?
So moved.
Okay, so moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all right. So the the work session is now open. First item is a review of the town board minutes of October 5th, 2021. Does anybody have any comments on the October 5th minutes? No. If not, we'll move on. Okay. First item on the agenda, Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., Town Engineer, consider request to authorize change order number 2, contract C-265, Carmel Water District number 2, water main rehabilitation phase 1. Rich?
Good evening. So as a board, contract 265 for Carmel Water District 2 water main lining phase 1 was awarded to Michael's Pipe Services on March 17th of this year. Relining under the contract is currently underway. The reason for this particular change order, which is change order 2, lining was necessary and completed in sections of water main which record documents show to be either PVC or transite on St. Michael's Terrace. St. Michael's Terrace, there was 860 linear feet at a cost of $147,000. This included the attendant costs of temporary mains, house connections, etc. Additional costs included the installation of a valve and pipe for work with transite pipe at a cost of around $10,000, and the replacement of 2 fire hydrants at a cost of $19,000, almost $20,000. Though that work has been completed, the work here is proposed. Lining will be necessary along Glenna Drive, water main, which record documents show to be PVC. However, they're not. It's unlined ductile. Total length is 2,300 feet at a proposed cost of $260,500. This includes the attendant cost of temporary mains, house connections, etc. Also, that's being proposed is installation of 50 linear feet of new main to complete a loop on Vink Drive at a proposed cost of $24,750. We've also included in there the replacement of additional hydrants that are no longer operational. An allotment of 10 hydrants at a unit cost of $12,000 per hydrant to install has been quoted by Michaels. The total cost would be $120,000 if we needed those hydrants. The project was awarded at a unit price with a contract price of $3.152 million as at the unit price is established. With the additional work described, the project will come in at a final cost of $3.626 million. As originally estimated, the project was to cost between $125 to $150 per foot of pipe to be lined. The recommended additional work will lead to a cost of about $134.50 per foot. We recommend the approval of this attached change order.
Rich, is this because, go ahead.
Yeah, because I have a lot of questions on this.
Just first of all, is this because of when they dug up what was there was not what was anticipated that was there?
So for St. Michael's, there was a whole bunch of what we thought was supposed to be transite and/or PVC, ended up being unlined ductile. As I've maybe said to some of the board members, that whole run in that neighborhood, there's 6-inch goes to 8-inch, goes to 6-inch.
Is there record drawings?
Excuse me?
Is there record drawings of
There
what's up
are
there?
record drawings that the town of Carmel has, yes.
Say it again?
The town of Carmel has record drawings, yes.
Has record drawings of what's there?
Oh, what was supposed to be there, yes.
And you're telling me what's in there is not what's on the record drawings?
Correct. So for instance, that goes back to Glenna Drive. It's showed as PVC, but when they went in there to look at it, it's unlined ductile pipe.
And we bid this $3 million out based on the record drawings, or did they run any cameras through there?
No, it was based on the record drawings.
How does this change the consulting fee?
Doesn't.
Has work begun?
The only work that's been done is to St. Michael's. The work on the project has been started and has been
Has any
ongoing.
of the change order been done? Been started working on?
No, so one change order was here. It was a no-cost change order for an extension of time. That was here a couple of weeks back.
Okay. What I'm saying, what's here in front of me now, has any of that been started?
Only the St. Michael's portion of it is completed. Glenna has not been completed. The Vink Drive loop and the additional hydrants have not been included.
And we got 2 fire hydrants at just under 10 grand each. but we're adding 10 more fire hydrants at 12 grand each.
That's the quoted price
I
that they
would
gave
have
us.
thought by 12, a little cheaper than having two. And 12 grand sounds insane.
That's the price that was quoted. The hydrants have gone up in
Why-
cost.
Why is a change order on fire hydrants? We knew how many fire hydrants on the original drawing we needed. What do we
No,
need?
the original project did not call for fire hydrants. When they're going out there and looking at the project, the fire hydrants are not operational. They're finding that out when they go through the system.
Aren't they inspected, the fire hydrants, yearly by the fire
They-
department?
The fire department does go through them, and they alert us when there are bad hydrants, but they never located these. So the ones at St. Michael's, at least.
Well, the price on the fire hydrants is insane. And everything about this bothers me as a contractor. You know, you're saying in one sentence, additional costs include the installation of a valve pipework with the transit pipe at a cost of $10,250 and the replacement of 2 fire hydrants at a cost of $19,965. Then, in the next paragraph, you say 5 fire hydrants no longer operational. We're doing 10 more at $12,000. Why aren't we doing them for? It's for $120,000. Why aren't we doing them for $199,650? I'm not signing a change order where you got 2 prices for the same product, and not only that, the first one has additional work with it. The second one, it's clean.
No, Councilman Barilli, the work with the valve and pipe work was $10,000. The 2 hydrants was $19,965. That's not an aggregate cost. Those are 2 separate costs.
The 2 hydrants
Were $19,000.
and the replacement of 2 fire hydrants
Was
at a cost of
$19,965.
$19,965.
But it did not include that valve work. That valve work was $10,215. So it's not an aggregate cost, they're individual line items there. So you can't take 10,000 off of that 19, is what I don't know if that's what you're getting at, I apologize.
This
You
job
can or you
stunk
can't?
from day one to me, it still stinks. Something smells.
Those
So-
are 2 fire
so
hydrants
Rich,
at 19,000
so-
each, or
No,
combined?
total, aggregate for 2 hydrants.
Right.
Okay, it's
So each one of those fire hydrants are $9,982.50.
Correct.
Okay. The ones down below are $12,000, but you're saying that there's additional work to bring it from the $9,982.50 to the $12,000?
The price that they quoted for any additional hydrants was $12,000 a hydrant. That's what Michael's quoted. What they did originally was that $9,800, or 2 of them at $19,000.
Okay, so can you just go back and ask them why in the first paragraph they're having $9,982.50 per fire hydrant, and in the fourth paragraph they're charging $12,000 per fire hydrant?
The first paragraph, those hydrants were already done in the past.
Correct. Those have been
They're
installed.
finished. So that was the price at the time that they installed those.
Correct.
So now they're saying that they need 10 more, and this is the new price of
A
$12,000.
new hydrant cost,
No, but they're
$6,000 or
replacing-
$7,000. Nothing is cheap anymore.
They're
Councilman
replacing
Barilli.
the 2 fire hydrants.
They're
These
done.
are
I'm just-
2 new
I'm not
ones,
trying-
these
I don't
are
wanna-
10
I'm
new
not here to
ones.
argue with you. I'm
Two
just letting you
different-
know.
two
This
different-
was something.
no,
It's just that we got
it's
a
not
project,
just
a
said it was.
multi-million-dollar project with one change order of 20%. How do you think the people up there are going to feel? A single change order of 20%, and then we're going to tell them that the plans we had, the record drawings we had in this building weren't correct.
We're incorrect.
I didn't make,
Which
yes,
one-
I agree.
I'm not blaming, I'm
Right,
not blaming.
right. So I don't shoot the messenger
saying
on
we
this
have to
one.
tell-
This is the information that we had. It was provided, it was developed. When they go in and dig up what's going on in the ground, it is
When-
not what's supposed to be in there. And that's-
When were those plans that we have upstairs, when were those plans drawn?
It's all different, like, I don't know exactly when Glenna Drive was done, but that was a separate development that was put out there.
So
St.
can you-
Michael's and Everett and all that were done at a certain, in the 60s,
All right.
and they were
So
done
can
in
you
piecemeal
do-
fashion.
All right, so can you do me a favor for, or actually all of us, for the Glenna Drive one, that with your records it's showing PVC pipe, can you just do a little bit more research and find out who, because back, whenever they did it, it was a mistake. I'm just going to say they made a mistake.
Can't they
for
go
right
through the
now.
lines first
So-
with the camera before they start the project, so they know what's in front of them?
So, I'm sorry, Councilman Chanel. Susie, Councilwoman McDonough, could you
Yeah, so.
Complete your thought. I apologize.
Yep, no, so I just want to find out, back when the drawings that you have up there, who was the person or persons or business, whomever, that said that they put in PVC pipe when in fact they may not have?
Okay. Councilman Chanel, I will do that.
Okay,
Councilman Chanel,
thank you.
I'm sorry.
Shouldn't we have them go through with a camera, through the pipes before they start, to see what's up against, what they're up against?
The
to make sure
problem
that-
is that they can't run the camera through there because of the percolation within the pipe. If it were that simple, right, we would have done it already. So that's the reason why we're doing the relining, is there's tuberculation within the pipe.
Because it's all, you remember those pictures
no.
that they saw? You can't see them.
So we could have cut more coupons, but we cut coupons where we were cutting coupons. If you remember, that work was done a couple of years ago where coupons were cut, where we were looking at pipe.
That was my next question. You had any coupons cut out in any of these sections?
Not in Glenna. St. Michael's, we had coupons, and, based on our
The
operators.
question is, on this change order,
Yeah.
on whatever amount of feet on these 3 change orders, were any coupons taken out of that pipe?
Not on Glenna.
On anywhere, on
No,
the change order, were any coupons taken out?
St. Michael's, I don't believe we had any up there, but we had historical references from our operators and the folks who've done work up there telling us what the pipe was, plus our record
I'm
drawings.
only asking because if we had a coupon out that said the record wasn't right,
Well, that's a different story, but we didn't have a coupon for Glenna. Right, we don't have a coupon for Glenna.
Okay.
I'd have to double check the St. Michael's Everett Road area, if we did any up there.
do me a favor, humor me. I want
Okay.
to know if any coupons were taken out of any of the pipe that affecting this change order.
I definitely not for Glenna. I'd have to check for St. Michael's, so I will humor you with the St. Michael's
We have
area.
a coupon out of which one?
No, we did not collect one.
Definitely not Glenna.
Glenna Drive had no coupon
Oh, I
collection.
thought you said there was one.
No. I'd have to check for St. Michael's for you.
Okay.
But you could also go back and explain, and have them explain to you why in the first instance, the hydrants were under 10,000 apiece, now they're at 12,000 apiece.
Right, yes, I will. Councilwoman McDonough mentioned that, and I'll make sure that we ask that question.
And we're not purchasing 2, we're purchasing 10, so.
No,
then
well, no,
we
it's,
should-
it's an allotment. It will only be spent if necessary, so that will not, it's a unit price project. So if we needed a hydrant, they would do it at 12K. That's what that cost is. They're not gonna go in and just find 10 hydrants. If there are 10 hydrants, then that'll be there. And just so you know, the Phase 2 that was awarded a couple of weeks ago included at least 15, either 10 or 15 hydrants in it, learning what we learned about this first phase. So the second phase that went out, that you guys awarded to Mainlining USA, already includes the replacement of hydrants in there as part of the unit cost.
And do they have
Just so
the-
you know.
Do they have a price per unit? in that
I
contract?
don't have that off the top of my head, but it is in that particular spec.
So Rich, you're saying with paragraph number 4, that if they find hydrants that are not operational, they're gonna be 12,000 apiece, but we don't know yet if they are or not
Correct, Chris.
operational?
Correct, because they're going to go into a winter shutdown in another couple of weeks, by the end of November, and restart the work for Michael's Phase 2, so to speak. It's Michael's, they'll be back next year, which was the no-cost change order, which you asked before, Councilman Brilli. There was a no-cost change order for a time extension, because they have to do a winter shutdown, and then they'll do more work come in the spring.
But how do we not know now if their hydrants are operational or not?
We can have our operators go out and check them. We don't know that until we're up there. We've asked the fire department to
Why are
go.
we giving a change order for 10, for,
That's what I'm
why are
asking.
we giving a change order?
So
You're
let's-
asking
let's-
for a change order for 120,000 for 10 hydrants that we don't know if they're broke yet or not.
Correct. It's an allotment in case
I
they're
mean,
found.
are we just giving out a gift?
It's
So let's
only if they're
You're sitting
found.
here seriously telling me that you want us to grant a change order to change 12 fire hydrants at 12,000 each, that we don't know if they're still good. So once we grant this change order, whether they're good or not, you know damn well they're gonna
They're
get
changing.
changed.
Yeah. So
Are you kidding me?
So Rich, can we find out from the operators which ones are function, I mean, out of,
We
how many
can
are-
go-
how
we
many
can
are
go
there?
in
That
and
answer
find-
right there bothers me on the whole change order.
How
We
many?
but we can remove that item from the change order then.
No, that's fine.
No,
Well,
no,
hold
no,
on,
no,
hold
no.
on. Wait, hold on. if there's hydrants that are needed, it's one thing, right? I mean, if for the safety of the residents, that's necessary. We're not gonna not do it because we don't feel, because we're arguing about it. What we need to know is, are the hydrants operational or not? Is it all 12? Is it 6? Is it 10? Is it 4? There's got to be some that are still operational, I would guess. Otherwise, we'd have a real problem.
You're correct, and it's an allotment on a unit cost basis. If they don't find any hydrants, they don't do it.
I
If
know,
this
but I
is
think
while
we need-
they're
but
doing
I-
the work, they
No,
can
I
put a
know, but
hydrant.
I think we need to know, Rich, ahead of time.
Okay.
By the operator or whoever's doing this, how many hydrants are functional, how many definitely need replacing.
We could do that.
I think it's only because, listen, if you tell somebody, well, if you find 12 that are broken, replace them all, they'll be replaced.
Right.
And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be replaced, I'm just saying we should know that information before we grant any change order,
Okay.
all right?
Well, I
also
mean,
want to know if there's any coupons before we grant the change order.
right, Coop, but the only area would
Maybe
be
St.
the St. Michael's area.
All right, well, let's find that out.
Rich,
I'm sorry, Kenny.
Yeah, Rich, can you tell me or tell the board when it was determined that Glenna Drive was PVC and not ductile iron, and who discovered that? Did the contractor discover that or someone else?
The contractor discovered it. It was probably about 4 weeks ago that they determined that. I'd have to get the hard date for you.
Okay, and how come during the design phase of this project, that wasn't discovered that it was PVC and not ductile iron?
Again, it was based on the record drawings, and no coupons were collected in that area, so record drawings showed PVC.
Okay,
just trying to understand.
and there was PVC also on St. Michael's Terrace?
St. Michael's Terrace was always thought to be either transite or PVC, record drawings, but when they went up there, they found about 860 feet of unlined pipe.
So Kenny, whoever did the record drawings
Yeah.
back then, and that's what I asked them to find out, gave the town misinformation.
Obviously, yeah.
But
They-
was it done by, I mean,
Where are the
again,
record
I'm not,
drawings? Who has
I'm
it?
not
I guess
questioning
Rich.
you, obviously, you weren't
The
here, none
engineer.
of us were, but I'm trying to understand what the submission process was back then for drawings, for lines, for water lines. Did the town engineering department do that? Was it a private contractor that then submitted them to the town? And then would the town have had to go out there and verify what the drawings were? And again,
The
these are
answer
just
is
questions.
probably a combination of all of that. The idea is it might have been done by a planning board, where development went in. They got approved for a planning board. Maybe somebody was inspecting it at that time. Maybe they weren't. Some of these were done in the 70s. Some of them were done in the 80s. Some of them were done in the 60s, right? So if nobody's watching them,
No, I'm just trying,
so then
and
they
again,
submit a drawing
Right,
that says,
right.
here's my as-built. Again, it should have been inspected, could have been inspected. I don't know that answer.
No, I understand you don't know that
No, I know
answer.
that.
I'm just trying to, for the sake of the public, to make them understand what that process was back in the 60s and 70s and 80s that led to drawings of PCV pipe when there wasn't PCV pipe.
I'd have to research that. I have no idea why that would have
I
happened.
don't think you'll ever find the answer.
I got to be honest with you, I keep going back to something. A change order of 20% of a $3 million job that has tucked in there $120,000 for 10 fire hydrants that we don't know if are broke or not. This job smells, okay? It stinks. Something is wrong here.
Rich, in general, throughout the town, whose responsibility is it to make sure that the fire hydrants work? Is it the fire department?
the
Is it the operators?
It's a mixture of both. The fire department does go out and look at them occasionally, but it would be the operators. They do flushing on a regular basis twice a year. They should be testing these out, but I'd have to double check what that contract says. It should be the
Yeah.
operator.
Don't the fire departments
Because
do that
I'm
also?
just,
No.
So,
No, the fire department does not do flushing.
so Rich,
because I'm just thinking for the future, meaning the near future, that the operators of any of the water districts gives a report to the engineers on every single fire hydrant, whatever your term would be, yearly, every 6 months, 2 years, whatever it may be. So we don't run into this issue again, that they give the report to you and then you can forward that to the town board. Because I think that that's something that, everyone's making a nice contract, and that if they're supposed to be doing it, let's make sure that they're actually doing it.
Well, do you actually have recordings of or reports of fire hydrants from the water district?
They don't give us a written report.
How could they not give us a report
When they
that
blow out-
indicates
when
the
they blow
PSI
out
of what's
hydrants,
coming?
Don't they rotate?
I don't
Right,
understand.
when
Why
they're
don't they
opening
just
up
go
the
to the
height.
end of the line?
I think they just go to the end of the line. I don't know if they operate each one individually, so they're gonna have to start
You
doing
would
it.
think an operator would rotate the hydrants.
Right. I mean, how do you know if the fire department goes there and the house is on fire and you want to use the hydrant and you find out it doesn't work because they tested the end of the line and they didn't figure out how much PSI is coming out of the, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, we're not testing for PSI. What they do is they flush the hydrants
Right.
on a regular basis just to keep the water flowing through a system. That's what the operators do.
Well, how do you know how much water is coming out of the hydrant? Maybe the contractors saying that the hydrants are bad because they're calcified. Is there a lifespan for the hydrants?
Well, some of them are from the 20s, some of them are from, the 30s, some of them are pretty old, and some
So
of them
they should be
that
tested.
still work.
Yeah, they
right?
should be tested.
Some of them don't work, from the 50s.
All right,
And there
let's-
should be a record of it.
Let's get an answer to how many of these are functional or not functional, and how many of the proposed 12 need to be replaced, if any.
Okay.
And
And
coupons for
coupons.
St. Michael's Terrace.
And this is the first phase, correct?
This is the first phase, yes.
So the second phase, are they going to make sure that they do coupons throughout the system so there's no surprises and there's not change orders?
No,
or-
the coupons were done a handful of years ago, so they're not done as part of this project. This project was just a lining project based on the drawings that were submitted.
How do we avoid this going forward?
I can't answer at the moment. I'd have to get back to you on that one.
Okay, thanks.
Guys, just for the record, the operation and maintenance of the fire hydrants are the responsibility of the operators of the water district. It is not the fire department's responsibility to make sure the hydrant works. When the fire department gets to the hydrant, it should be working because the operator should have tested it.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So-
And there should be a record of
Okay.
it.
Theoretically, they should all be operable right
Correct.
now.
All of them should be operable.
Correct.
And this,
And if one or two are out, whoever has that contract,
they should report it. If it's out,
Exactly.
they should submit a report to
if
Rich.
he
the
tells us
engineer.
3 hydrants are out, I want to know from the operator why we weren't told that.
Correct.
Yeah. But I actually, Rich, I think your item here, I think it needs more detail and it needs further analysis because I'd like to see the record documents. Personally, I'd like to see them, what they worked off of. Do you have them?
They're up in my office. We can,
Well, you don't have to get them tonight.
No,
but
I wasn't, but we can
maybe
sit
the
and talk
board
about it
should-
tomorrow.
The board would like to take a look at them,
Not tonight.
no, not tonight.
But I do,
Just-
go ahead.
I mean,
Just so we
I
ha-
can
just
have
so
them,
we
I can
have-
email them to you
I
with
do-
the drawings
do-
of what we
I
have.
do- Rich, I do think before we get these kind of change orders for these kind of dollars, that more questions have to be asked, almost as the engineering department being a consumer. The how, when, and why, as to, and you gotta, everybody whoever's the engineer on these projects, the consultant engineer, has to ask these questions, and we have to have the answers before you come here with, for example, number 4, again, talking about the hydrants, or with regard, stuff. We have to have, a more aggressive approach to these people who are these contractors who are making money. And maybe some of the stuff is legitimate, maybe most of it is legitimate, but we really do need to,
Back up.
We really need to ask the harder questions of them if not from the engineering department, from the consulting engineer as to the how, when, and why.
Well, the record.
really, why?
The biggest thing is the record drawings, and that's going back a long time. That would answer a lot of questions, and like Frank, you just said, some of these costs with the linear feet that now has to be changed out because back then, the record drawings showed PVC. I mean, there's nothing we can do that happened back in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
We have to move forward with it, but I would like to find out about why it was like that and how it was not followed through, I guess. And that may be something moving forward, like anybody that comes in now to the planning board with the things, somebody may have to go out and actually, before they fill it in, look at it. We may have just learned a very valuable lesson that people haven't been doing. But that's for another topic.
Well, before I agree to this change order, me personally, I want further investigation done on Glenna Drive to make sure what we're being told is in the ground is in the ground. And I think the only way we can do that is through cameraing, put a camera down it, or do a coupon. cut coupons out?
So they have done the coupons, I can get you that information.
On Glenwood Drive?
Yeah, they went up, they did it piecemeal to go up there, because the way they do the relining is they dig a hole, right, and they dig a second hole, and they're able to cut into the pipe. They're gonna insert valves at that point in time, that's part of the project, and they're gonna rotor-rooter those pipes and clean them out. When they went up a little bit on Glenwood Drive, they found it was unlined ductile. So we went up, halfway up Glenna, it was still, and then we went to the top. So we have that information. You're not going to be able to camera it because the tuberculation, you can't get a camera in there.
So-
But we did do some cutouts for Glenna Drive to identify that the full length of it is unlined ductile.
It's PVC.
Unlined ductile.
What?
It's supposed to be PVC.
Showed
It should
PVC.
say PVC.
It's unlined duct.
Yes, the whole
And you
length is
you have coupons?
yes. I don't know if they're coupons, but they went in and did excavations in there and did a cut.
Who's they?
Michaels did.
Michaels did? Was anybody out there with Michaels when they did
Yes,
this?
so we have all that record documentation, I can get that information to the board. Yes, the consulting engineer is doing construction management, and they're overseeing it and making sure this happens.
All right, and there's photographs of that? There's pictures of it?
Yes.
Okay, can we get copies of those pictures showing what's
Sure.
in there?
Yeah, so they're the ones that found it. So really, the question is going back, who put it in there when they said?
Yeah,
that-
Susie,
that-
I just want to validate what we're being told tonight, and it's not you, Rich, it's the contractor. There's a contractor out there. You know, I want to make sure that what we're being told, it's a $500,000 change order, over $500,000.
I just don't like the part, the adding in.
I understand what,
Adding in the fire hydrants just makes everything smell. So just get as much information as we can. We're going to be here for a half hour more, beating the same thing. And,
No, he's not going to answer those questions, but that's,
Yeah,
that's.
answer the
you're
question.
gonna
I
have
will
to
answer the questions, I just can't answer them tonight.
No,
wait, but I just,
And come back, Rich. You're going to have to come back to the board and update the board when you know.
yeah, but
get the
I
information.
just want to let it know that I'm not saying that Michaels did anything wrong at all.
We don't
Okay?
know. We're
No,
not
no, no,
saying that either.
I'm not, I'm saying that I don't believe that they did anything wrong. I'd like to just find out who put something in there when they said it was PVC and it wasn't. Okay?
And-
It's that simple.
And I just want to validate what we're being told is true. I think we all
Well,
want to
I
confirm that.
would hope, Kenny,
I-
that when a contractor comes to the engineering department, who goes to the consultant, that they
You know,
I mean,
Susie,
show the
Susie,
coupon. I-
contractors always try to slip things through if they can,
No, I understand. It just seems to me
Especially
that,
when you-
right,
when-
it just seems to me, though, that there's a specific contract that there's always on, and I'm just going to say this once and then I'm going to stop. There's always a specific contractor that is always under fire that I think does incredible work and has done incredible work in the town of Carmel, when this, in fact, may not be that. So let's just get what was in there, everything that
I'm
everything that
talking
everybody
about the
said.
contractor. I'm not talking about the consulting engineer.
No, I'm talking about the contracting too, Kenny.
So
The
so
contracting.
Michaels hasn't done work for us in the past.
No, but don't we
Michaels-
have, don't
I
we
don't
have
even
the
know- I don't
consulting
even
engineer
know.
with this also?
I-
Do we have the consulting engineer on this project as well?
Yeah, they're doing construction management.
Okay, thank you.
But you
They-
said it's not, Susie, it's the contractor that I want to make sure that that's confirming and validating all this. That's where we're getting it from, is the contractor.
The contractor's
The
getting it from the
contractor
records that we
goes-
have here in the town, which are incorrect. That's why we're having a problem with the lining. They're not what they said they are.
All right,
Is that
Rich, you
correct,
know what
Rich?
to do.
And listen.
So we need to find out who gave us that information and where it's stored, and where the contractor now is getting their information from.
He just told you.
Rich, answer the, can you?
It's not
can you
clear.
send
You're
us-
not making it clear.
Rich.
That's clear.
Rich, can you please supplement this memo, answering all the questions that we had, all of us, and get it to us as soon as you can?
I will.
We're not going to approve it, obviously, until that
we have
that time,
Understood.
okay? And there may be further questions after that, but.
And that's fine.
But when a memo comes to us like that, it really has to have in-depth, you have to add, like, this is why we need 12, or this is why we need 8. That really needs to be, we just can't, like, throw it out there and say, well, if there are 12, we're going to change them. You understand what I'm saying? So in the
Understood.
future, we need to really narrow stuff down. We just can't leave it out there as,
Yeah.
all right?
And if, especially where it says that they're no longer operational, we need to find out exactly which hydrants they're identifying, and we need them to check them to make sure they are operational, because if they're not, then obviously we're going to have to fix them.
Understood.
Thanks. And just one extra note. I did have a ride up there. I spoke to Rich earlier. There was a lot of unfinished work that Michaels needs to finish up before they leave and go on to the next phase. There was a lot of blacktopping that was temporary that haven't been finished. My understanding is they're waiting for, I guess, the bigger part to be finished. But I think the part of St. Michael's, Everett, and Kelly Ridge being completed, that's enough for them to. They should finish what they left there before they move on to another section.
Right, so as we spoke earlier,
Right.
they're going to finish up the Fair Street area, and then they're going to go back and do all the blacktopping in that area, right? And do
Right.
it all at one fell swoop when they do it. It's economy of scales when they do it versus doing a full patch in one area and then just keep going. They're going to fix the curbs, they're going to fix the bumps in the road, they're aware of it, they're going to do it in the first 2 weeks of November is what we were told earlier today, which is when they should be, working on Fair Street also.
Okay. No more, wherever they're at that first 2 weeks before they lose the chance of getting blacktop, they're going to have to stop and take care of that work. That's what
They
I'm
will.
saying.
And they'll be able to get blacktop again, as we spoke. There are plants that are open in New York City that they can get blacktop from year-round. So,
Thank you.
not that you want to lay blacktop in the cold weather, but, they are able to get it after the plants close up here.
All right, Rich, so you heard our comments, our questions, our concerns. You have some homework to do,
No problem.
all right? And then report back to us at some point when you have that.
No
Additional
problem.
data and information, we'll go forward with it.
No problem.
All right. Okay, next
Thanks,
item on the
Rich.
agenda. Rich Franzetti, consider request to approve and submit semi-annual MS4 report.
So this is a semi-annual, annual thing that we go through. The town of Carmel is an MS4 community. As such, we are required to develop and submit an annual report by June 1st of any given year and a semi-annual report by December 1st of any given year under the New York State DEC State Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit for stormwater discharges for municipal separate storm sewer systems, or MS4s. There is a semi-annual or draft semi-annual report that ultimately will need to be signed by the owner-operator, which in this case is the supervisor, and forwarded to the DEC on December 1st. I'd like to put this on the next agenda. We'll post it up on the webpage. If there are any comments, we'll address them. If not, then we'll make it final, put that up on the webpage once it's signed, and get it out to the DEC.
Okay, any questions, comments for this item? No. Okay. All right, thanks, Rich. Okay, final item, consider request to authorize a 30-day notice of ABC alcohol beverage control law for a liquor license. Board, you're very familiar with these because we've done quite a few of them in the past. And Greg and I reviewed this application, and we found it to be complete, correct, counsel? Okay, we found it to be
I just got
complete.
one question on this, Ken.
Yeah.
Where is the building? I'm not familiar with 55 Secor Road. What building is it? Does anybody know?
Yeah, the owner,
Yeah, because the owner is out of town, it's initials,
Taconic Rental Development, LLC.
yeah.
I can pull up on Google Earth, but I think it's the restaurant that used to be the liquor store. It was a bar.
That's right, they too,
Then a
right
liquor
across from the
store,
Chinese
and
restaurant.
now it's going to be a restaurant. I think
Right
that's
across
what
from
it
the
is.
Chinese restaurant.
Right. But I'm going to look it up
I
real
think it
quick.
might be
The old
Secor
building
Gardens.
that they did the nice renovation on.
Yeah.
All right, because the only thing is, the neighbors should be aware that it's a full restaurant, and they're asking on their liquor license application, it's gonna be live music, light acoustics, and recorded music, and they're looking at a sidewalk cafe, and a
Patio.
patio or deck.
It looks like it was the old Taconic Wine and Liquor.
Yeah. So, I don't know, to the right and to the left, there's nobody, and across the street, there's nobody, but I don't know what's behind it, so just so the public knows. Other than that, we've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
I don't agree with doing it, but we've been doing it forever.
Doesn't really, I don't know if that's the right building.
No.
It's not
I
55?
take that
I have
back.
55. It's not Taconic Wine and Liquor?
It's where Taconic Wine and Liquor is right now, but that's not really it.
Oh, look at it.
It's right at the border of
The place is
Mayapack.
closed. The liquor store
Apologize.
is closed. Right? Isn't that liquor store closed?
That was the building they renovated across from the Chinese restaurant.
That's what I thought it was.
So did I, but this is showing, this is 5045 Secor Road.
This is it right here.
That
Looks
building
like a
right
house.
there, which I think,
Pull it out a little bit. Oh, it's where, there's a deli in here.
Is that,
Yeah, Maroney's.
is that the same? Let me just find,
There's
that
a,
might
Oh,
be
okay.
there's a Maroney's Deli's right here on this
It's
side.
in the new building.
That's the new building. This is the,
There's really no, if it can't be in a new, where are they putting a sidewalk cafe in the
no,
front?
hold on, hold on, hold on.
The deck is
Maroney's,
kinda like
Maroney's
Maroney's.
Delis is 45 Secor Road.
It's not that one.
so where's,
this is showing up wrong, I don't know why, I apologize.
It has to be,
has to
Right here.
the old Taconic liquor store.
They did a big renovation on
is
it.
that across from the Chinese place? Chinese restaurant?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Could be off.
But it could be 44.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rich.
I gave you bad info here, so apologize.
All right.
It wasn't the right stuff.
Great. A sidewalk cafe.
Well, it's like the front of Maroney's Delicatessen. They have tables out there and stuff.
Okay.
It just throws me when it says, well, no, if it's the other building, there's room for it.
This is the liquor license. If there's a sidewalk cafe that requires, or outdoor dining requires planning for a building.
Then you gotta go-
falling in that, You not taking a position on this level.
Yeah, I just said if I,
License doesn't
the neighbors.
automatically give them a right to run that particular business operation. It's still subject to the site plan regulations.
Okay. All right. Any further questions or comments?
No.
No? All right, so that completes the agenda for the work session items this evening. Is there anybody in the public that would like to come up and comment on the work session items that we just discussed? Mr. Butler, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Good. Good, thanks.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Everything good?
It is, with me it is, yeah.
You look like you're
Excellent.
conducting an orchestra back there.
I'm getting too old for this. John Butler, Harmel. That's how the evening's going to go. Hamlet of Carmel resident, and most importantly, resident of Carmel Water District Number 2. I would like to address item number 1 of the town board work session agenda. Like I said, I'm getting too old for this. My brain's melting. So I'm going to cut to the chase. I live there. I've been part of this project. Just a small, short story involving me personally when it started, kind of an indicator, I think, in the broader sense, as to how this project was going to go. And by the way, the workers for Michaels, the contractor, these are good guys. They did a great job. We got most of our information as to what was going on by the guys who were digging the holes and on the street. We got very little information anywhere else. Good guys, good work, honest people, and they told us the truth. So we're right at the very beginning of the project. There was a question. Oh, wait a second. We got to hook up the temporary water lines to houses. We're going to use the, hose nibs or spigots. But what about people that have a water pressure pump, which a lot of people do because we've never had water pressure? Well, how do we hook up? And I went to the guys and say, I got one of those. How are you going to hook up? And they're like, we don't know. No one ever really talked to us about that. And so the alternative was, well, do you have any holes or things in your house that we can put a hose through? Yeah, no, I have no holes in my house. So anyway, my wife and I went away for a few days, got out of the airport, got home, pulled up on my driveway. And as we pulled up my driveway, what do I see? An excavator and a dump truck digging an 8x8 by about 5 foot deep hole in my front lawn. I didn't know anything about it. This is what it became. And that was to connect my house to the temporary water supply. I tell that story just as an indicator of the quality of the project. Again, not from the contractor point of view, not from Michael's point of view. These guys were out there doing their job. So when they came upon all of these issues about, holy smokes, we didn't know that we had to reline that, that wasn't in the specifications. I remember one of the guys, a couple of the guys, won't identify him, said, This is the most screwed up project I've ever been on in my whole time doing this sort of work. The other quote that I loved, one of the guys said, well, we're now dealing with the St. Michael's mystery, okay? St. Michael's Place. We don't know what's going on here with these pipes, right? So these are the contractors. They're not doing anything wrong. They're coming upon these situations. They're doing their jobs. So if you hire an architect to put an extension on your house and the plans that the architects give to your contractor are wrong, it's not the contractor's fault that he just gave you a change order for $100,000. It's the fault of the architect because the plans are wrong, okay? So this entire project was based upon specifications that were developed by the consulting engineer. And those specifications including, hey, this is what the pipes are, this is what they're like, this is what you're going to work with, this is what's going to happen, were provided to the contractor. Contractors doing their work going, holy smokes, this isn't what we were given. We've got to change everything. We've got to do things differently. So let's stop right now, please, any conversations holding the contractor, Michaels, responsible for any of this, because it's not their fault. It's the design engineers, design consultants' responsibility. We go back and you talk about, oh, the drawings from 1867 were defective. Well, guess what? It's the design consultant's responsibility not only to look at records, but to make sure before the project begins that that information and that data is correct before the project begins. It's not just looking at it and saying, it looks good to me. You go out and you do whatever is necessary. I'm not a design consultant. I'm not a consultant. I don't know what that takes. It doesn't matter. It's the result. It's the product, the work product that you provide for that project. This is what we're going to do. This is what it is. We've done the appropriate analysis and research. I think we got paid, according to what I saw in the summaries of cost, somewhere around $500,000 to do that. Okay? So let's bottom line it. The situation as far as this work order, I should say the change order, here's a $500,000 bill for you folks in Carmel Water District number 2, on top of what you're already paying. Here's a $500,000. So the project that we thought was going to cost X is now going to cost almost 20% more because we didn't know what we were doing. And it ain't the contractor. And it ain't him. It's not the town engineer. It's the people we paid to put this information together and to design the project. Okay? So here's a couple of other things.
John, wait
Yes.
a minute. I'm not going to, and I agree with you with a lot of stuff, okay? But
What don't you agree with?
What I disagree with you is that Rich said that there's record drawings. So are you saying that any future thing going on in this town that we have future drawings on, we have to pretend or think that they're fake, that they're not real? Because they went on, if Rich, please, if I'm wrong, and I usually never talk because we're just supposed to sit here and listen, but again, there's a particular contractor that certain people continually go after, and
Why are you defending this?
Why am I defending
particular contractor?
Okay,
I'm just
well,
curious.
Listen,
I
I'm
don't
not
care.
going to
It
get
could
on
be
it.
anyone.
But what I would appreciate is when the consulting firm is here, let them speak to it. But from what I understand, Rich, and please do it wrong, when people come in to do any work in the town, have they gone to the record drawings before and they believe that they're right because they went through the planning board, they went through the zoning board, they got the permits, they got everything, they got the stamp approval, and that is what is supposed to be in the ground. So,
That is
you know,
typically
so
how
the
the
two
system
options that I
should
see,
work.
and John, it may be an option. The two options may be that we take what is supposed to be true, that the people give us, and we go on that, or we dig up everything. That's all I'm going to say.
Hold on a
That's all,
second.
I'm not going to
Hold on
debate
a
anymore,
second.
go on
Just
anything.
hold on 1 second. First of all, we're talking about, at the beginning, $500,000 out of my pocket and other people in Carmel District Number 2. Okay, that's to start, because I don't know what's going to happen with Phase 2, and I don't know what's going to happen with Phase 3. We're talking about professionals, professional engineers. Professionals don't get away with saying, I think, I believe, I think if you build this building, it's not going to fall down. That's not how it works. That's why they're professionals. That's why they get paid to do a professional job. So the fact of the matter is, a professional engineer that's looking at drawings going back 70 years that may or may not be correct, you don't stop there and say, we'll hope for the best. The next step is you affirm and confirm whether that information, in fact, is correct. Because if it isn't, you can't go forward. You can't do a recommendation for a project based on maybe. Maybe doesn't work, okay? So what I'm saying is, in this instance, and other instances similar to that, you can't do that. So, bottom line, we have an error. We have a professional design error. All of these change orders are a result of the design specifications provided to the contractor were incorrect. The change orders, that $500,000, are a direct result of that error. So therefore, what should happen tomorrow morning is the town legal department should put a notice of claim on that firm saying, holding them legally responsible for an error of professional liability and making a claim for $500,000 and holding it open for additional claims that may result in similar circumstances for Phase 2 and Phase 3. Notice of claim tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, putting them on notice. And if that doesn't happen, there is a big problem. A big problem. Because I'm not responsible for $500,000. You're not responsible for $500,000. He's not responsible for $500,000. The person that's responsible is the one that made the error, and that's the consultant. Simple, end of story. Forget about fire hydrants. Forget about everything. That is the bottom line. Thanks a million.
Thanks, John. Okay, is there anyone else here for the agenda items for the work session that we just, the three items? Come on up, if there are. Anyone else? No. Is there anyone here for new business, open forum portion of the meeting? If so, come on up at this time. No? Okay. There being none, does the board have any announcements that they'd like to make? Say goodnight. Okay, so we'll be back here. We're not meeting next Wednesday. We'll be back here on Wednesday, November 3rd. This is the next time we're going to meet publicly, and that's for the work session. But if the board desires, what? It's a voting meeting, yeah. I'm sorry. It's been a long day, Ann. It's a voting meeting, but it also is the public hearing for the budget for 2022. But if the board would like to meet next week, let me know. Mike,
Okay.
Frank,
I'm
if you want
available.
to meet to discuss the budget further, it's up to you. We're off next week. We're not going to be here Wednesday evening, but if you want to meet to work on the budget, just let me know. All right? And we'll schedule that. Okay? But if not, we'll be back here Wednesday, November 3rd for a voting meeting and the public hearing on the budget. All right? I need a motion to close? So moved. Motion to close by...
Second. Everybody.
Councilwoman McDonough, and everybody seconds it. I second it too. Good night, everyone. Be well. We'll see you November 3rd.
This is my big
So-